Well, we turn to Georgia again. It was a high-profile shakeup in a high-stakes case against Donald Trump over election interference. Blayne Alexander is there. And Blayne, this is another case that has been slow to move forward.
Absolutely, Lester. These were bombshell allegations that delayed this case here in Georgia for more than 2 months. Now tonight, a judge has ruled that DA Fani Willis can remain on the case, but without her lead prosecutor.
He was front and center when Fani Willis announced her criminal indictment of Donald Trump. But tonight, Nathan Wade, the man leading the prosecution against the former president for allegedly trying to overturn Georgia's 2020 election results, has resigned, the culmination of a months-long spectacle after one of Trump's co-defendants, Michael Roman, exposed a romantic relationship between Wade and Fulton County D.A. Fani Willis, who hired Wade on the case. Roman accused Willis of financially benefiting from her relationship with Wade after the two went on vacations together while working the case. In a ruling today, Judge Scott McAfee said while he did not find an actual conflict of interest in the case, he did find a significant appearance of impropriety that infects the current structure of the prosecution team and gave Willis an ultimatum. Either she and her office leave the case or Wade. In a letter, Wade writes today he's resigning to move this case forward as quickly as possible. For Willis, today's ruling is a legal victory, but a professional blow following this stunning 2-hour testimony.
It is a lie. It is a lie.
Judge Scott McAfee scolding what he called her unprofessional manner on the stand. And while not dismissing the case outright, as the defense had asked, McAfee takes Willis to task over, quote, this tremendous lapse in judgment. Tonight, Trump's attorney, Steve Sadow, says he will use all legal options available as we continue to fight to end this case. Also tonight, Trump's former vice president, Mike Pence, tells Fox News he will not endorse Trump, in part because of his actions on January 6th.
Donald Trump is pursuing and articulating an agenda that is at odds with the conservative agenda that we governed on during our 4 years. And that's why I cannot, in good conscience, endorse Donald Trump in this campaign.
Yet another political headwind for a candidate already facing several legal ones. Blayne Alexander, NBC News, Atlanta.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.